Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler, and we are the Big 12 champs in football. Tyler, can you believe it? It still sounds a little bit like weird in my head because it's just never happened before, and we've been kind of mediocre to good at times to really not good at times, and all of a sudden just dominated our way all the way to a Big 12 championship, and we took down BYU for the second time. On Saturday, we were both there. We're going to go through all the vibes, the good times. We're going to break that down. We even have a little video for you. Our highlights are from football today because that's the game of the week. And then we're going to talk about women's basketball. They have 2 games this weekend. Preview those. They didn't have any games since we saw you last to highlight, but we will preview their game at Washington State and versus Abilene Christian at Odessa. Maybe it makes sense. And then I believe we'll talk about the men's basketball team's big win over LSU. Blowout win over the Tigers on Sunday, also in Fort Worth. So, big Texas Tech sporting weekend. The DFW takeover was a success, Tyler. That thing was like 70% Red Raiders, if not more. It was loud. It was rowdy. It was a good time. How was your experience in the student section? I saw you had great seats. Found you in the crowd right before the game.
Yeah.
Looking live.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was electric. It was super fun. It was the coolest experience. And I mean, yeah, Red Raider Nation showed out. I mean, it was so funny. There's all these BYU fans that are posting TikToks and things like that. And it was like the sound that's like, we are so screwed. Like when they saw all the Red Raider
I
fans.
saw that
I
same
mean, yeah,
TikTok.
it was so funny. So, no, it was super fun. I'm really glad that we were able to, it was kind of close at the for the first part of the game, and
Yeah.
then BYU like turned it over I think 70 times, and then we were able to capitalize on that, and then it was just fun. But it was so cool to see all the Red Raiders see us bring home the trophy. The Raider power was probably the loudest it has ever been. We broke a conference championship record attendance record and all
Did.
of Power Four, over 85,000 fans. Majority of that was us. So I mean, you brought 2
Yeah.
really good fan bases together. So it was such a fun time. But yeah, we move on to the Orange Bowl next. So super exciting.
I mean, it's just surreal. Like,
It
it's
is.
just we've been so dominant this year that it's like you expected this, but it still was cool on Saturday to take a moment and to like take it in. Like, I got some confetti.
No
We'll do
way.
the. Yeah, I
Okay,
went and got some.
okay.
I'll get you some, Tyler. I grabbed a handful. I'll get you a few pieces of it so I could frame it along with the softball confetti that I still have a little on the table too from softball. So I
How
have both,
cool.
collecting the confetti from being at both, but just like sit there and take it in. It was kind of the same experience for both. Like it reminded me a lot of the softball Big 12 championship, just with less than 80,000 people screaming around it. But that's just not a place that Texas Tech's been in either sport before. And they did both dominate their way all the way through it. So you knew that they were going to get it. But just to see it happen was really cool. And to have, I mean, it's fun for me, but like I've been a Texas Tech fan since 2009 when I transferred to Texas Tech as a sophomore. Didn't root for Texas Tech at all before then. Like just didn't care about them, to be honest. But as soon as I became one, like ride or die, Scarlet and Black the rest of my life. Like I will do anything for this university, right? But there's people that have been decades and decades and decades of this where they've seen this team struggle and just never be able to get there. And so you could just see those people in the crowd like crying. I ran into a few before the game on the field that were like had been given VIP passes and stuff, and they were like crying in warm ups, and I was just like, oh my god, I just want to hug you. Like they were just so happy that it was happening, and I was like, I love this for Texas Tech. I love this for Lubbock, and I love that the players get that and that they
Mhm.
understand how much it means. And I hope the nation kind of got to see that a little bit because people that say that Big 12 championship games don't matter and stuff, and I get that if you just keep winning them, maybe they don't matter from here on out for us, but this one mattered to get it done for Lubbock and show people that it's possible. And then also who did it for us. Like there's all this talk about the money and stuff, and I wrote an article about it because it was just at that point pissing me off. And the press post game that's all the national media wanted to talk about with our
Mhm.
players, but they kind of flipped it back on to the media, and we're like, yeah, there's money, but this is what's going on in the locker room. And when you think about it, Corey Eakin was the offensive player of the game, right? Walk on, didn't have a single offer, Tyler, until after he finished his high school season. At that stadium, he was the state MVP. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. That's when he got offers. He got his Texas Tech offer the day after that game. And that was like his first
How cool.
D1
What a
Power
cool
4
story.
offer. And then he gets 2 touchdowns in the Big 12 championship at that same stadium 4 or 5 years later as a senior here. Jacob Rodriguez was the defensive player of the game, which, anyway, I was a defensive player of the game, and he was a walk-on coming over from Virginia, slept on his brother's floor in his dorm because he couldn't afford housing until he was able to earn a scholarship, and then he worked his way up. Now he's a freaking Heisman candidate. He's winning all these trophies. He won another one last night. And then the most outstanding player, like Ben Roberts, right? He's not a West Texas guy. He's not. But he committed to Texas Tech long before, like, all this NIL and stuff. He's from, I think, Hazlitt or East Texas or something like that. And he's someone that Joey said after the game told him when Joey was, like, recruiting him as a walk-on, I think probably to Baylor, where he said, I'm going to Texas Tech, coach. I don't care if you're there, if you're not there, I'm going to Texas Tech. And so he goes to Texas Tech, and then Joey gets here, and now he's a big piece of his kind of defense, and he was the most outstanding player. Not a huge recruit, none of this NIL, none of those people. Not to say that David Bailey wasn't instrumental in winning us this game. Not to say that Romello Height and Lee Hunter weren't massive in winning this game. They were huge. They dominated the line of scrimmage like they do every game, and then allowed those guys to do what they do. But I think that was kind of the story for me, is like, y'all can sit there and yap about money. It's true. We would not be here without investing in the defensive and offensive line. But there's so much other talent that now gets to shine because of that. And so I just wish people would focus more on that. But that's the world we live on. Not to mention we don't even have the biggest budget. Like, we haven't even spent the most on our roster of the teams that are in the playoffs. Like, there's other teams that have spent more, but nobody talks about that. It's just us. Like, bought, not built, or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, Ohio State's been buying, not building their championships for decades now, I guess, if that's the way you look at it. But rant over. We can get in the game, but take it away, Tyler.
Yeah, no, and I mean, to piggyback off of that, I thought, last night was the Kerala Lights, and I thought one of the coolest things was the two players Coach McGuire picked to get represented was Baron Martin and Bryce Ramirez, because they were the two that have been there literally, like, they wanted to be Red Raiders from day one. They're ending their career as Red Raiders, and yeah, not to say that these transfers they've been instrumental to this team, but you talk about letting those players shine. They were there, they took a chance, they let Joey, they're like, okay, Joey, like, what do you have for us? Like, we're going to stay and we're going to see what you're able to build for this program, and now their talent got to shine. So I thought that was really cool to see that last night, to see them get recognized, because they've been true Red Raiders for life since day one, and they just really went through it, ups and downs, and now they're getting this really cool experience and are Big 12 champions. But I thought that was really cool how Joey did that.
Yeah, Bryce Ramirez shattered his leg in like 10 places like 3 or 4 years ago at NC State. I was at that game. It was horrific. And he was like an up-and-coming player. Like, he was on his way to do some really big things. Shattered it. He stayed in North Carolina for like a week before he could even fly back because of the amount of surgeries he had to have. Comes back. He's had 2 or 3 red shirts since then because it's kind of taken so long to get back to who he is. Now he's on a team where he's not starting because all of a sudden he's behind these really big, transfers that come in, but he's still contributing. He had a massive tackle early in that game on special teams and lost his mind. The crowd went crazy. He wears number 3. Coy wears number 3 on offense. That's special in this program for Team Luke, right? That signifies the fight, the strength, and all that. He does that. And then Baron Morton's been playing on a literal broken leg for the entire season. It's still healing, is what he said in the post game. That it's not 100% healed, but 3 weeks off now, which is crazy. They have 3 weeks off before they play. He's like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I need. Like, it might actually be close to 100% healed, which is crazy. And you saw he had way more mobility in this game too, so he's getting back. Like, he did like a crazy, like, got out of a sack, like Johnny Manziel move. I was like, whoa! Like, I saw sophomore Baron Morton for a second there, so he's getting back. But yeah, the thing with Baron is he's so underappreciated because he kept getting passed over. Like, as a freshman, no one expects to play as a freshman, but he waited his time. I think he got a starter too when someone got injured. And then they brought in his sophomore year. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be Baron's time to shine. Then they brought in Tyler Shuck from Oregon. And they told him, hey, Baron, he's a senior. 1 year and he's going to the NFL. You get to learn behind this NFL prospect, blah, blah, blah. And Baron bought in. He's like, all right, let's do it. And then Tyler gets hurt. And so he gets another year, and then he gets another year again. Like, it's like he just kept staying. He just kept getting red shirts, and all the time is like Baron's behind him. Like, what about me? Like, you know what I mean? And then finally, out of respect to Baron, they said when Tyler got another red shirt, they said, "Hey, you go." Like, basically, you can stay if you want to back up, but we're giving the keys to Baron. And that was before last year. And Tyler Shuck went on to Louisville. Now he's in the NFL. But in this modern age, people don't do that. Like, Baron could have just left and said, cool, I understand. NFL quarterback, cool. I'm gonna go somewhere that can play. Like, especially the next year when Tyler stayed again. It's like, I'm a junior now. I'm going to go somewhere that I can play. And he didn't do that because he's Lubbock bred and he wanted to be here. And he talked about all the relationships that he's made since coming to Lubbock in the post game, and that it's going to be lifelong friendships, and how his teammates are going to be at his wedding one day, he hopes, and all these different things that he's going to have in life because he stayed at Texas Tech. And that's what matters about this team. So the national media can write about whatever they want to, but our fans know, and our fans know how special it was. And that's what this game was. We said going in, we thought BYU would come out fighting for their lives, and they did. They pulled out every freaking bag in every trick in their bag on that first drive. It was like a Candyland game. I mean, eye candy everywhere. They were doing double reverse flea flickers for 1 yard,
insane.
I might add.
Yeah.
But they were trying. I won our bet. It was a pass, and it was a pass to the flat. I didn't get the player right, but it was a pass to the flat on the first play for like 1 yard. So we stopped it. But yeah, they definitely tried to pass it more and tried to open it up, and they did. It was a great first drive. They scored. We punted it away on our first drive. They scored. We were down 7-0. But I really wasn't concerned. Were you concerned? I wasn't concerned because they pulled out all those tricks. I was like, anybody pulling out double reverse flea flickers on the first drive does not feel confident in their ability to beat this defense straight up.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit concerned just for how long BYU was able to hold on for a while, and it seemed like offense was struggling a bit to kind of get things going. But then after we were able to finally get a first down, I was like, okay, like I think we'll be able to hang in with these people. I was like, finally. But I mean, there was some of the red zone issues that were definitely frustrating, but then we were able to just kind of pull away. And BYU, as I said, I mean, that last fourth quarter, I felt so bad because honestly, I think that any chance that they had to be in the playoff may have gotten ruined by the 50 million turnovers at the end. I mean, I just don't. Yeah, four. I mean, it was back to back to back. Like it was pretty insane. And we were able to at least capitalize or get some points off of those, and that was just great for us to see that. But defense came up huge in this. Offense, they did what they needed to do to keep us ahead and winning the game.
It's just been the same as it's been all year. And I get that people are like, oh, Texas Tech's not going to be able to win the playoff because their offense isn't dominant or whatever. But like they haven't had to be yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like name a game where they really needed to go like a late game winning drive. I guess Arizona State, and technically we did that. Technically, it was our defense that gave up the last late minute drive. So all of a sudden, when our offense needed to, with our backup quarterback in that game, they did it. So we'll see. Barron wasn't 100% sharp in this. He missed some throws, but again, he hasn't been practicing. So I do think, let's see, give him 3 weeks, where maybe the last week or so of that break, he's actually going to be able to practice and get in sync with his players. That'll be big. But our running game is just super versatile. Like you can have Cam Dickey. I think on that first touchdown drive that we finally, the Corey Eakin touchdown pass. Before that, Cam Dickey touched the ball on 6 consecutive plays. I think it was like 4 or 5 runs and 1 catch. And then we threw a bomb to Coy. Like that's what Cam Dickey can do. And then on the bomb to Coy, they had brought in Jacoby Williams to be the I think it was third down back, and he murdered a blitzer right up the middle that was gonna kill Baron Morton, gonna kill him. And Jacoby said no, took him out, and then Baron had time to chunk it up, and Coy made a great play. So I think they make enough plays, and BYU's not a bad defense either that we're going up against. So I think that's part of the red zone struggles. But everybody in the playoffs is gonna have good defenses too. So it is what it is. We have the most dominant defense in college football. The metrics back it up. We can win with defense. The SEC did it for years, and no one said anything about them. Now, all of a sudden, Texas Tech does it, and it's like, oh, their offense just isn't good enough. For years, I watched frickin' LSU and Alabama play 6-3 games, and we call it the best football on God's earth. We're winning 30-47. Not good enough.
That is a good point. No, I mean, that is a good point. We have been watching a lot of those SEC 10-3, I mean, even Big Ten, if you will, 13-10 finishes. So I mean, we are definitely seeing a lot of offensive production. I mean, some of these SEC teams have like these Heisman quarterbacks that are all like, in the running for things, but most of their stats have come from stat padding when they play their, cupcakes. in the
Yeah.
middle of
We may
November.
not like sustain like long drives and da da
Right.
da, but we what'd you say last week? Like we lead the country in big plays or whatever. Like that's what this
Yes,
offense
and
does. Is
explosive plays.
they're kind of like poke poke poke, miss a few plays here there. Oh dang, missed opportunities, and then all of a sudden bomb, and we're up 7-0 or we're up 14-0. Like hey, I'll take it.
It works. It works. Yeah, we were able to have it work. But yeah, as you said, defense came up huge. Jacob Rodriguez led with 13 tackles. John Curry had 10 tackles. David Bailey had 5 tackles and a sack. And then Ben Roberts, your player of the game, had 2 huge interceptions, 2 crucial interceptions. Got
Big
those in
12
for
record.
20 yards. Yeah, Big 12 championship game record, which is crazy to think about that was. I guess the
Yeah,
record was
I
one,
was
but
kind of surprised
I
as well,
know.
but yeah,
There was a lot of records that I think were being broken, and I was just like, oh,
yeah,
they're like, New Texas Tech just did this. Texas Tech just did
yeah,
this. I was like, really? Like, I'm surprised. I was shocked.
yeah.
I was actually kind of shocked at the attendance thing. I mean, I knew that we would show out, but you would think that UT and OU when they played like 50
Yeah,
times
they've
that they
never
wouldn't have
sold it
beaten it.
out. They
Yeah,
never sold
so
out Caliber Stadium before.
that's just
It's just
cool.
because those fan bases are so used to it.
Hmm.
They're saving money for like the next game. They
Right,
didn't care about the Big 12 championship. It mattered for these two teams.
it
I
did.
don't like next year. I don't know. Texas Tech will probably always fill it out because the fan base is right there in
Hmm.
Dallas. But I don't know if it'll be as. I mean, it was like standing room only packed in this. It was like a Cowboys game.
It was just way louder than a Cowboys game.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
But yeah, and then yeah, offensively, looking at stat wise, Barron did look great in this. I mean, he did what he needed to do, 215 yards, definitely exceeded Bachmeier's yardage. Was able to get 2 touchdowns in with that. Jacoby, as you said, Jacoby looked really great. I mean, he was just ripping through BYU's defense. I mean, he was fast. Everyone was like, "Dang, go Jacoby, go!" Cam Dickey looked great, was able to get that touchdown in. Reggie was like the go-to guy, really, other than
Couldn't stop
in
him.
addition to Coy. Yeah, really could not
He
stop him. He was
said
getting some huge
deep
receptions.
deep crossers to Reggie all day were open
Yep,
every single time he did it.
and it worked. It worked. And then also
Yeah,
the 2-point conversion from Terrence Carter Jr., which really made the game more important because BYU couldn't try to sneak in a touchdown and then lead by
it's
one or
true.
be down by one. I mean, that was huge too. So, I mean, just those were only 3 touchdowns that we were able to get, but at the same time, we were still able to hold on, and defense just again came up huge, and we did score more points on BYU than we did the first time in Lubbock. So something's
Yeah.
working. It was working.
Yeah, I think it's just like if we had won 60-20, would people have been more impressed because we scored 60 points, but we gave up 2 more touchdowns? It's just the way
Right.
people look at it. It's like, okay, which one's more impressive? Like, whatever. I feel like our fans are starting to be like, no, like, we're a defensive team. Like, our fans have, like, finally come around to the idea, but I think outsiders are still used to Texas Tech being the
Air
Mike
raid
Leach
and
of it all,
yeah.
that they don't quite understand it. But like as I love how, and I hope they're right, but BYU's coach said after the game, and their players said after the game too, like that's the best team in the country. That's the best defense I've faced in my entire career. Kalani, their head coach, said everybody else is about to find out what we've had to face for 2 games. And again, he's making a pitch at that point for his team to make the playoffs. So perhaps he's exaggerating. I don't know. But he seemed like I don't think he's a guy that lies. So he said that that's the best team in the country, and everybody in the college football playoff is about to find out what we've had to go against twice now. And he's like, they can say what they want to, but they're about to find out. And I was like, all right. So that's what I kind of hope. And I was at the midweek, or I guess not midweek, but just on Sunday, they had like after the selection party thing, they had media with Joey McGuire, Cam Dickey, and Cole Wisniewski. Wisnowski. I say his name wrong every time. There, and they kind of all talked about still having a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and underdog mentality, even though they know that they're good. They do kind of feel that like they didn't say the word disrespect, but that people still are kind of doubting them. They're respecting them by giving them a 4 seed like they earned, but that they do kind of feel that a lot of people don't expect them to do much, and they still have. Joey said, "Why not us?" has been their kind of thing behind the scenes all year, so that's kind of the thing they're still going after. So it's gonna be interesting though. 3 weeks off is a long time. Especially in football, like they're so used to hitting each other all the time. Like it's gonna be an interesting. You don't really ever have this much time off in football.
Right.
It's kind of stupid, which Joey talked about too. The calendar is stupid for football. Like they should be playing first round games this weekend. Like why are we taking a week off to begin with? I get finals, but like I guess that's the reasoning. But then we should have played last week or something. But anyway, the calendar's kind of silly. But yeah, the team seems focused. Orange Bowl, New Year's Day versus Oregon. Well, we're assuming it's going to be Oregon. It's in
JMU
Miami.
though, if you have some tricks up your sleeve,
JMU.
send them
They're
your way.
three. They're
Bring
three
them.
touchdown underdogs. I will say Joey was honest because someone asked him yesterday. Since JMU is a 3 touchdown underdog, does that change how you prepare for one team or the other? And he was like, honestly, it's going to take a lot for JMU. Great team, but we know it would take a lot for them to go into Eugene and beat Oregon. So most of Texas Tech's focus, he said, is going to be on Oregon this week. They'll have a few people working on JMU. But if JMU wins, they're going to have flip the switch. But I'm sure they'll be happy to do that because they respect Oregon so much and think it's going to be a tough matchup. So I think it's fitting, though. We played them a couple of years ago at home. Should have won. Didn't.
Remember that game.
Could be fun, Tyler.
Yeah. I mean, I really do like our draw. Like, I don't know. After watching the games this weekend, well, if Ohio State would have won, then I was like, okay, hopefully we can sneak into that 2 or 3 seed there, or have Bama win or whatever the scenario had to be. But honestly, how Indiana ended up taking care of Ohio State, and then I just really kind of liked our seeding with the 4, and I think it prevented Georgia from going to that 5 because Georgia, in my opinion, looks a little bit scarier than Oregon did if in the event we have to play Oregon. So I do like our draw. I think it's a good draw. Yeah, I know a lot of people are upset that we have to play in Miami, but I don't think that's going to stop this team from doing anything great. And it's the noon game, and I know you've talked about before how this team has said they like to play the earlier games better because they're not just pondering on it. So we have played well at 11 a.m. I don't think. Yeah, our only loss was at a 2:30, 3 o'clock game. So we are undefeated when we play at 11 a.m.
We don't have a large sample size there. We have one loss
Yeah.
to go on, but yeah.
Just a large sample size, but we rock at 11 a.m.
The other thing is it's not like we're playing Miami in Miami. We're playing Oregon. It's an even farther trip for their fans. So, and their players, like they're going to be on 11 a.m. on the East Coast is
9
8 a.m.
Oh yeah, 8 a.m. Whoa,
8 a.m.
You're right.
West Coast time. Now I'm sure they'll fly out there, so they're there like a week before or something. And I don't know what their plan will be, but it's a difference. It's only an hour difference for Texas Tech. So we'll see if that affects them at all. But Oregon, if any team's ready for that, it's them because they play in the Big Ten and they've been doing that all year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they're kind of used to that at this point. But yeah, we'll talk about that game as it gets closer. We'll figure out how we're going to do holiday recordings. But this is unprecedented territory here that we have.
No.
All these sports. Usually like, hey, we'll see y'all after the new year. No, we're going to have to figure out how to do shows because our team's in the freaking college football playoffs. So yeah, maybe like we'll be back next week to recap basketball for sure. Once we have all that, maybe we'll do something then, but we'll do something pre-recorded or something. Nothing's gonna change. We'll figure it out. But yeah, really cool. But they're not done yet. That's the biggest thing. Big stuff. I don't think either of us will be at the Orange Bowl. We'll see if Tyler goes, but I think we both probably have the opportunity, but this is how dedicated we are to our women's basketball team. We got a women's basketball game to cover, and it's the first home Big 12 game.
I know, we got to be there for that.
We got to be there. I mean, I got back into sports for one reason, to make sure sports not named football were getting covered as well. So when they asked me if I wanted to go to the Orange Bowl, I said, that sounds lovely, but unless you can get me a flight on New Year's Eve night or New Year's Day morning that gets me there in time, I'm going to have to pass. And that's the truth. So I'm going to be there for that. But before then, Tyler.
Right.
They have 2 games.
They do.
They're off for a while, haven't played for a bit. Hopefully Russ isn't an issue, but they're seniors. Whatever. They've been playing basketball for a while. Get through finals this week. Then they go on the road to, we talked about last week, a little bit of an interesting place to travel to in Pullman, Washington. It'll be a 8 p.m. start here locally, 6 p.m. there, or whatever time. Y'all do the math. On the West Coast against Washington State. They are currently like 1-6, maybe 1-7 now. I'm not sure. They haven't won a, and I don't even know if they're who'd they beat. I
It
don't.
was some. It was just
I don't
some
think it was
small
a
school.
D1 school, so I think like when
Yeah.
you look on other websites, they haven't won a game yet because they don't count those. But the NCAA counts those, so it's fine. But yeah, but they have played a really good schedule, so don't let it trick you. They have some good players. They've lost to LSU, BYU, very close game to BYU, lost on a buzzer beater to BYU in their most recent game. Stanford's a decent team, at least a Power 4 team. Mizzou and UNLV is a very good mid-major, and they
Hmm.
played some teams pretty close when you look at their schedule. So they've been in the fight. We played them last year. We'll be familiar with their system. They have at least one returner, a few returners, but one of their starters, and Via, I remember being really good against us last year. But been a tough season for them. Really good coach, though, former Texas Longhorn player. Cami Eldridge, right? Eldridge? I'm
Yes.
saying that right? She's also from West Texas. So she's very familiar with Texas Tech. But yeah, we should be pretty familiar with them. What do you got on them? And then I'll just yap about some stats that I saw.
Yeah, they have, as you said, they do have that guard, Eleanor Villa. She's averaging 17 points per game, 2 assists, and is a 30% three-point shooter. She's pretty good. I think she did have a good game against us last year. From what I
It's a close
remember,
game.
yeah,
She's
they
the one that
had
hit those
very
late
close.
threes that
That's
kept
what it
them in it.
was. Okay,
Yeah.
because yeah, they had. I mean, because most of their team did transfer, so they're having to build. They have a lot of foreign players
Yeah,
on this
she
team, from what
was
I've seen. So
the only
they're
ones
kind
that
of
stuck
working
around.
on it. And then they have Charlotte Abraham. She's a 6 foot guard, averages 11 points, 6 rebounds, and is also a 30% three-point shooter in this game. And then their forward and their center situation's a little bit different because they
Mm-hmm.
did have that Alex Coville, who is their 6'6" center that we were all talking about last year. Now, granted, Alex Coville did not do much really against us last year. We were
Yeah.
able to kind of lock her down, but she only played in the first 2 games in November. I didn't see or confirm that it was an injury, but that's what I'm assuming because but no
Gotcha.
media outlet has really reported it, probably because their team's 1-7. Unfortunately, that's just how that works over there.
They
And
don't. They don't have a seeing Scarlet, Tyler.
they
Not
don't have a
everybody
seen
does.
Scarlet. I know in Pullman,
It's
Washington.
unfortunate.
So unfortunate for them. But whatever happened to her, they've now had to rely on some of their new people. Malia Rude or Rudd, whatever you say it. She's a 6'2" forward. She has 9 points per game, 4 rebounds, 0.9 blocks. And then Keandra Cordis is like a guard forward combo, 6'2", averages about 7 points a game and 2 rebounds. Those are kind of your main players for Washington State. I don't think that their defense is going to be playing in a zone like they did last year because they no longer have that 6'6" center that they kind of have to plan around. I think they're going to be a little bit different defensively. But what do you have on them?
Yeah, I think they mostly play a man. They do randomly jump into a zone on under the basket, like out of bounds plays. I noticed in the game that I watched. So there's your. I don't know what that's about. I guess it's just
Yeah.
easier for them to guard. But yeah, they mostly do that. It's the same kind of offense we faced last year. It's a similar offense to sometimes what we run. Just dribble drive, a lot of back cuts. Um, they'll have like that big high post will jump out, even if it's not the 6'6", the forward will jump out at the top and screen in the middle of the dribble handoff situation to kind of throw more motion into it. Their offense is terrible. They have a lot of good movement, but they want to get to the paint, kick out for three. They take about 24 3-pointers a game. Only 19% of their shots come at the rim. Probably part of that's because they don't have, a lot of size down there, but they do want to get there. They want to get open looks, but they just aren't getting them all the time. 33% come from above the break, basically 3-pointers that aren't in the corner. So a lot of kick out, turn around, and pitch back to them to shoot. You see that a lot in our offense, so it's kind of similar stuff. We just have a big on the inside that they don't have. I do think we could take advantage with Jada Malone if she can kind of keep up with them up and down the floor. But the bigs they do have, at least when I watched, aren't like super burner types either. They're just not tall. So I think it's a game that Jada could have some success in. They turn it over quite a bit at 17 per game. They only force 15. Not overly athletic on the defensive end than we've seen. They have some players with links, but nothing crazy.
Hmm.
So a -2 margin isn't great. But again, they've played like a ridiculous schedule, so some of these, keep
Yeah,
that in
like
mind.
LSU, I think they lost like
Like
130 to
LSU,
32 or something. Like it
yeah,
was
that's going to
bad.
really
Yeah.
skew your results. They have played some really good teams close, so they're
Yes.
better than their record for sure. They've allowed about 75 points per game, but again, they gave up how much to LSU? Like, you take that
Like
out,
over 100. Yeah,
it's
something
gonna come down a
insane.
little bit.
Yeah.
They do allow like a very high shooting percentage from 3, and they allow a lot of points in transition. So I think this is one of those
Jalen and
games where we should.
Danae, cook.
Yes.
Bailey,
I
cook.
think this is a game where we should be able to beat them down the floor in transition, hopefully turn them over and just get some easy baskets. I watched a good bit of their BYU game. That's their most recent game. Again, they lost on a buzzer beater to a BYU team that's been solid this year.
Mhm.
And BYU was getting a lot of open looks. They just weren't hitting them. So if you don't hit your shots, Washington State will hang around. And they will do enough to get, 50-something points on the board. Hopefully not against us, but they'll do enough. And if you can't score, then they'll be there to the end and fight you for it. I really do like the Villa girl. I think they call her... I read that as Villa, but I think it might just be Villa, the way the announcers were pronouncing it. But she's not their point guard. At least she doesn't bring the ball up the court. The girl that does, I think Hema's going to be able to just pick her pocket. I was not super impressed with her ball handling, so I don't really understand why she's the one that is bringing the ball up the court. I'm really confused by it, to be honest. And BYU wasn't really getting after her much, which is weird. But I don't know. Hema and Danae are going to have a field day. I bet Danae gets Villa, but Hema's going to pick this girl's pocket. But they might switch and let the Eleanor girl bring the ball up. Who knows? We'll see how they handle the press. But we should be able to win. But it's a tough place to play, a road environment, a team that is playing better than their record shows because of who they're playing. And they will have played a game 2 days before they play us. So their finals break, they won't be coming off their finals break. So there'll be rust shaken off for them, and we'll have to shake that rust off in those first few minutes after not playing for 10 days. So we'll see. But you need to go get it done. The net, they're not high on the net, but the net will like a road game no matter who you play, especially if you beat them by a good margin. That will give you another boost in the net, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah, looks like we're 18-point favorites in this per the per Torvik, and 92% chance to win per ESPN. So again, it should be a win. In years past, maybe this is a scary game for us. I'm playing in Pullman, but I think that this team is a lot different. As you said, there's 9 seniors. I'm sure they've taken their break very seriously and they haven't been slacked off, and they're going to come out in full force and strong and get that win because it's very important that they do get this win.
Yeah, I'm typical Tech, blah, 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 but this team has been the opposite of that all year. So I'm going to say, yeah, they're going to be focused until they give me any reason to believe that they're not. So I'm excited for them to take another step forward and another chance to get better before Big 12 play. Also, then they'll travel back. So that is on Friday night at 8 p.m. Central, ESPN Plus, Washington State. Then a quick turnaround, travel back. I don't know if they'll come to Lubbock or they'll go straight to Odessa. Don't know the story here. Maybe we'll find out later in the week. I did ask at some point, and kind of no one really had a hard answer why we're playing ACU in Odessa. But I think it's just like a chance to let our alumni base in Odessa watch the team in person, maybe a recruiting thing. That's kind of the answer I got, but that's not from Gerlich or anybody. If there's a midweek, I'm assuming that'll come up this week. But not sure the reasoning. We're playing ACU in Odessa, but it is kind of right in the middle for both as far as like driving distance. ACU is a sneaky, solid team.
I agree.
Don't let Abilene Christian be like thinking, oh, they're a D2 school, because they're not anymore. They're D1. They have some good. They beat UNT by about 10, who we beat by 20, right? Like not a big difference, right? And they beat UNT in Denton on the road, and they handled that big. They have some pretty good size. Like they have a 6'3" big inside. That is decently athletic, but their guards are really big. Like when you watch them, they're hounding you in traps, and like Hema's gonna have to do her thing and get out of that and break it, but they're gonna try to throw a length at you big, and they're not just long and lanky, like they're strong.
Right.
And so they'll kind of get after you that way. But yeah, they lost every game that they've even lost. They've only lost a couple of games. They've been like close losses too, like to Northwestern, SFA, who's always in the tournament. And then who was their other loss? Oh, Bradley was the day after Northwestern in a tournament, so they had tired legs as well. But that's probably their only bad loss in their eyes, and Bradley's not terrible. But yeah, 108th in the net, neutral site game. That will be at least a quad. In men's basketball, that would be a quad 2 win. Don't get me started on that rant. And women's basketball, that would be a quad 3 win if you can get it done. The net will absolutely love a win against ACU. on the road. So I don't know what the reasoning we're doing it for, but it will be better than winning at home if we can get it done.
Yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, don't know the story on why it's in Odessa, but again, it's a guess a good mutual neutral site game for us. We definitely should be able to get a win against this one, but yeah, as you said, they do have big guards, big center, notable guards. Peyton Hull is a 5'10" guard,
She's good.
averaging. They have one, two, three, four. They have four players that are averaging double figures in a game. So she's averaging 17 points, 30.6 3-pointers, 2 assists, 3.7 rebounds. Then you have Meredith Mays, that center you're talking about, is averaging almost 16 points per game and 8 rebounds per game. Erin Woodson, this is a crazy stat on her because as you're about to get into with their 3-point shooting, she is a
Hmm.
31.7% 3-point shooter, but she's shot like 47 threes this year. So they just keep jacking. They
They
jack up
chunk them.
shots. Yeah, they
It's
just be
crazy.
chunking up 3-point shots. Yeah, and that's how she's able to average her 14 points. She has 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Definitely fills up your box score with that. And then they have other players. Emma Troxel, she's 6 foot forward, 10 points. Natalia Chavez, who's also a pretty good 3-point shooter, 50%. Only shot 27, 13 for 27, not the 40s, but that's still a lot of 3-pointers. They're all just kind of jacking it up. But yeah, they shoot a lot of threes, and that can work only so much. But I'm thinking our defense can lock down. And if I remember last year, when we were getting close with ACU, we brought in Adley Blacklock off the bench, and she just shooting lights out from the 3-point line. So maybe we can beat them at their own game if we need to even pull that trick out. But I don't think we will. I think it'll be if Adley wants to go off, go off. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
that
but
was one of our better games of the year
it
was
was
ACU last year.
it
So
was.
hopefully we have good vibes there. But yeah, you're gonna have to neutralize their size. I think that's why against a lot of teams they've had success because at the mid-major level, a lot of people don't have someone that big. But again, she did really well against the Nestor girl at
Mhm.
UNT. She does not shoot threes. She's like the only player on the team, so it is a player that she might take some mid-range though. Let's look. I can look at her. No, 61 of her shots have come close to the rim. So she's taken 63 total 2-point field goals. 61 of them have been close to. So yeah, seems like a game that you don't have to worry about Jada getting pulled out to the 3. So she's gonna have
Mhm.
to go against Jada. I think we'll see how that goes. Sarah could definitely cause her problems with her length and shot blocking. Hopefully, we've been a really good team. When you look at us, I think we're only averaging or allowing about 40% shooting at the rim, which is like 20% or 15-20% lower than the D1 average. Like we're really stymieing people at the rim with Jalen and Sarah's shot blocking ability. So hopefully that helps with her. But she's big. She's good on the boards. The whole girl is good. Really good guard. She had a decent game against us. She's probably the best game of anybody against us last year at double figures. Yeah, just a sneaky solid team. The best team we've played since Mississippi State, in my opinion. We'll see if Washington State gives us a fight, but they chunk like 28 threes a game. It's the 20th in the nation right now. We'll see what they do in there. I think they might play before they play us. I'm not sure, but 20th in the nation at chunking them, but they don't really hit them at a high rate. 26%. It's just a philosophy thing. Like you've heard, in the last 10 years, it's kind of shifting back to where mid range is becoming part of basketball again, but they're very much in the threes or layups camp. It's what they shoot.
Mhm.
They've taken 5 total mid range shots all year as a team. They're 1 for 5 in the mid range. Everything else
Wow.
has come in the paint or from 3. Most of those in the paint at the rim or from 3. They're fine taking some right at the free throw line area as well. So you don't really have to guard a lot of that space because they're not going to take them. That's just a philosophy thing, and you can tell because they just keep chunking threes. They want to spread you out, driving lanes, kick, get it to their big, hound them, do the thing. They're also a team that will press you. If they're not pressing you, they're trapping you right when you get past half court. With a lot of their length, they're going to try to overload one side of the court and kind of have like almost their entire 4 or 5 players on one side of the court trapping, covering all, and going to make you make those skip passes and beat them on the
Mhm.
help side. And they're counting on their one player to being able to stop you help side or to get the steal. But if you do break that down, you're going to have easy layups. And you're going to be able to beat them on easy layups if you beat it. But they're pretty good in their traps. They're very aggressive. on their trapping that I saw. They did that to us a little bit last year too. So both of these teams were playing, had the same coaching staffs, different players, but they have like a guard or two that were there last year, but otherwise some people have moved on because it's the transfer portal. That's what happens, especially at mid-majors. They move up and all those things, but we should be familiar with their styles of play because they haven't changed from last year. Same kind of thing. They wanted to take a lot of threes last year too. We have consistently been one of the best three-point shooting defenses in the nation for a few years now. This year for sure we're allowing like 23% or something from three this year as a defense. So might be a little bit of battle of defenses in this, and whoever gets the most easy buckets because of that. But we should beat them because we're a Big 12 team. But I do think this is a sneakier game than people might realize. Like, the casual fan might think Washington State's the harder team. As the season's gone so far, I think Abilene Christian is a little bit better. But I think the metrics maybe are even, right? What is the spread?
Yeah, the spread, it's, I think, 1 point less. Yeah, they're giving us a 16-point spread, so like 2 points less than what they predicted for Washington State.
Yeah.
So,
But Washington State's on the road versus neutral, so. But,
right.
yeah, we'll see. It's hard to know this early in the year, but their style of play does play really well into how we play defense, so we should be able to neutralize what they want to do and force them into tough twos.
Mm-hmm.
If they beat us in the mid-range, which they've taken 5 total shots all year, our goal might be to make them take 5 mid-range shots in this game. Like, I don't know how we'll play it, but yeah, that's just a crazy stat. But you see that some teams do that, where they kind of, Iowa does that. That's the whole Iowa's philosophy is layups or threes. They're kind of trying to get that for you. And then also one of our former players is their assistant coach in Tatum.
Yes.
Hybar, yeah, still there. And I believe Drew came from ACU. So there's a lot of ties there. But yeah, solid team. Another one that will help you in the net, because 108th in the net, again, that's a solid team. In men's basketball, you're eking up on quad 2 territory. I mean, maybe even quad 1 if it was a road game. But women, my God, you're fighting for a quad 3 or quad 4, but whatever. It would still help us for sure.
Well, and I think, AC is one of these teams that we're going to be watching, just kind of keeping track. I will throughout the year because right now when they're looking at their predictions and the Torvik ratings or whatever, their only 2 projected losses are like less than a 1-point spread against UT Arlington. And I think them two are going to be battling it out. And even if UT Arlington wins the regular season, you all need to be ACU fans in the conference tournament, because if ACU can pull out that will count as like a tournament team, if you will, that we've beaten. Hopefully, at the end of the season, we're not having to put ACU on our resume, but it would be a nice little, footnotes addition to our resume if that happens. So we'll take what we can get here. But yeah, so just interesting to watch. So yeah, they are a good team. Don't be fooled by the Washington State versus ACU. I do think ACU will be a little bit of the harder team, but
especially
again,
on
just
one day's
take care of
rest,
business.
1 day's rest with travel in between, going against a team that wants to get after you, havoc, like it's going to be a lot more stress mentally on you and physically. I guess they're taking their hard hats. I don't know if that thing is going to make an appearance again when they go to Washington State. I'm not sure. We'll find out. And go do it. Just looking at the metrics.
Right now,
ball is life mode. Yeah.
Well, at that point in the season.
At that point, they got finals to get done this week. But Gerlich was giving her team credit the other day. She said this team really cares about their academics and is doing really well in school and all that. But they're going to handle finals, and then, it'll be ball's life starting then. ACU does not play either until they play us, so they're also off for 8 days. They played on the 6th, and we will be their first game since then. So rest, that's going to end up being a big key to this game, is we're going to be coming off 1 day rest, having just played. ACU is going to be coming in off 8 days rest and ready to hound the shit out of us. So our guards are going to have to be on it, take care of the ball, break their press. You should get easy looks in this. If not, you're going to turn it over a lot. That's basketball.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of basketball, men's basketball, Sunday. I watched bits of this. You were at the game, right?
No, I ended up deciding. Yeah, I wanted to go to the Carroll Lights.
Oh, that's right. Good choice, actually.
Yes.
But men's basketball was a 1-point underdog to LSU, who came in undefeated. There were a lot of questions. Is LSU a little bit of a paper tiger? We'll find out. They were looking at this as their chance to have a statement win and prove to people they were legit. And we said no. We beat them by, math is hard, 24. We were up as much as over 30 late in that game, and then started putting reserves in, and the score got a little looked better at the end somehow at 82-58 than it did for parts of that. Christian Anderson was insane. I think he had like maybe 15 something points at halftime already, but he ended with 27 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and he had 5 threes. It's like the second time this year our little point guard has been out there hitting 5 threes. Toppin was solid, 11 points, 15 rebounds, double-double, 3 blocks, chill. Watts, solid. Jalen Petty came back, so we found out what was wrong with him. He was wearing a mask, so clearly a broken nose issue going on. That's how hard their practices have been. That happened in practice. He broke his nose, it looks like. But he was back playing, and he had 11 points. Started the game really strong. I think they were like 7 for 8 on threes in the opening 10 minutes of this game. And it was like a murder show from there. It was like 40-18. And we just didn't ever let them back into it. So, great win for them. That's exactly what they needed to do. It was the best defensive output of the season. We said it on our show last week that they were like their best had been whatever game that was, and it was like in the high 80s, and I was like, yeah, that's their best, but that's not really that good. Like when they're good in men's basketball, they're in the 70s, maybe the high 60s. 74 is a solid defensive rating in men's basketball, because they gotta guard 3 planes in men's basketball. You got the verticality issue you have to guard as well, so It's harder to have super low defensive ratings, but 74 is really solid. Not a lot to complain about. I'm really happy for them. You could see what this team could do if they got it together. And Grant even said after the game that he was crediting the football team and not just the vibes of like getting to see them win a championship and like that motivating them to want to win one themselves. It was more that he said the team on the bus back after the game was talking about how they could tell how close the football team was and how much they were celebrating each other and how much they loved each other during that game. And he said that that's what his players were talking about on the bus. And he feels like that kind of showed in this game. Is like they're still trying to find that chemistry that we've talked about. And they saw it in the football team. And they're like, hey, guys, like, we can do that, you know? Like, we can do that. And you kind of got to see it in this game. So they just had a lot of fun out there, it looked like, from what I saw. And shot it well. One of their second best offensive game, best defensive game. Those two things go hand in hand always. A dub is a dub. Right back on track.
Yeah, this is a big win for them. Glad to hear a successful bus ride story to the Dallas area for this team in December. But yeah, no, I'm glad they were able.
They flew to Dallas.
Oh, they flew to Dallas. Oh, okay.
It's men's basketball. It's not
Oh,
charter plane.
Okay.
The bus from the Dallas Cowboys back to Fort Worth.
Oh,
they went to the football. They went to the football game.
Oh, okay, got it. I see.
We didn't make our men's basketball team drive, I promise.
I see. Okay. Well, either way, good win against LSU. Yeah, again, everyone was like, ooh, this could be a good one. LSU can make a statement. They didn't. And then, yeah, they have a big game in Dallas again, but it's going to be at the American Airlines Center, so not Fort Worth, I guess,
fun.
Dallas, against number 17 Arkansas. So we remember last year against Arkansas, we made that huge comeback in the Sweet 16. I'm sure that John Calipari and his team are going to be out for blood in that, but yeah, I think they will be out for blood in that, but I think this is going to be an important test for us. I think if we can take out Arkansas, then I think that we see a lot of improvement with the team. Yeah, you feel pretty good going into conference play soon with that. They still have a few more games left in non-con, but if they can beat Arkansas, that's like a really good test. It'll be at 11 a.m. Dallas, so get there, Red Raiders, American Airlines Center. Should be a fun game.
They have Duke coming up as well soon.
Yes.
Before
Two
Christmas.
Big tests.
Yeah, so I think I'm like, if you can just get one of those, I'm happy. It's not the end of the world if you don't get either, but for seeding
really
reasons,
yeah.
Like if you want to be higher than like a 5 seed, you need to have a resume non-con win. I mean, you're gonna have plenty of those in the Big 12, I guess. If you rec shop, it'll take care of itself. But when you get into those debates between the SEC and the ACC, well, if you have a win, you have some wins over those conferences under your belt. You'll have 2 if you can get one against Arkansas over the SEC. That could really matter when it comes to seeding, as silly as that sounds, to be able to. It's the same thing with women's basketball. The fact that they, even if they're not the top of the top teams, like kind of LSU, like I don't know if LSU is going to end up being a top team in the SEC on the men's side, but they got a win over them. And so when those debates between the conferences come up, like does Texas Tech get this 3 seed, or does this other team from the SEC get this 3 seed. Texas Tech was 2-0 against the SEC, so let's give it to them, even if it wasn't head-to-head. It sounds stupid, but committee people actually, that they talk about those things. So, yeah. It's getting to that time. Things are slowing down. We're going to try maybe this week or next week, we'll see, to get old Jerry Glasgow or someone from the softball team on to give you an update on how fall ball went. So stay tuned for that. Just kind of trying to get it scheduled, but it sounds like that is in the works for us. So that'll be fun. If it happens this week, we'll put it out this week since it's a slow week. If not, we'll put it out next week. But looking forward to that, catching up with him. It's been a bit, a lot of fun stuff going on there. I know a lot of people have been asking for a fall ball update. I mean, we gave y'all one like after every single fall ball game for like 3 weeks in a row. But we can get the coaches on here to help you dive into that more. But yeah, it's slowing down. So we'll see. We'll have a show next week for sure of some kind to recap all the stuff that happened this week. And then we'll be breaking for Christmas. But the CFP, and yeah. My guess is what will happen is we'll break for Christmas. We'll both be back in Lubbock to cover the women's basketball. I'll cover marketing, whatever. We'll be working the game. Maybe we'll do like a show 2 days before that or something. Whenever we get back into town. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, guys.
Yep, we'll get it
Keep
all
watching,
figured out.
subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Appreciate it. Any final thoughts or anything that we missed?
Do we want to relive the Big 12 championship highlights for football?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Let's close out the show with the highlights. I promise them to you. We'll disappear and let you watch them in full because you don't need to see our faces.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off like people say I cannot. I get off the top, proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay last in the crowd, never run now, never heading south. I'll be spitting out, Hollywood and out, can't bring me down. I'll be getting out, you never doubt, know what I'm about. Have you f***ed out, if you're ringing out, I keep making sound, go another round. Some legend bound, can't stop me now.
Terrence Carter takes it in. Trouble, ball is out. That whole thing just exploded. And Ravello Height recovers it. Bachmeyer. And he's intercepted again. And Roberts does it again. Into space to Aiken. And into the end zone for another touchdown.
Gets old, the confetti. It's already fallen on the ground. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's good times. All the confetti colored the belts. Never gets old, Tyler. Never gets old. Let's go win another one in basketball. Maybe 2. Let's shock the world. Let's at least win 2. Why not? I mean, at least win 1. Why not?
Let's do it.
Everybody hates Texas Tech. Let's just make them hate us more.
Yep.
Hate us because they ain't us. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week, or maybe later this week if Jerry Glasgow joins this week. If not, we'll get you caught up with everything that happened in basketball. Hopefully, a lot of dubs coming. Hopefully, we have 3 wins to highlight next Monday, Tuesday, whenever we get on here. So that's all I got, Tyler. Till next time. Rack 'em, Big 12 champs. Let's go.